Hello students. In this video we'll be discussing about the chapter 6 of class 9, that is tissues. So what is tissue? So first we will see all living organisms are made of cells. In the chapter 5 we discussed about the cells, and there we have seen all living organisms, whether it is unicellular organism or multicellular organisms. The body of the organism is made up of cells. So in unicellular organisms, a single cell performs all basic functions. We have seen in case of amoeba all the functions. So in case of unicellular organisms, a single cell performs all basic functions. For example, in amoeba, a single cell carries out movement, intake of food, gaseous exchange, and excretions. All these basic functions are regulated by the single cell itself. So in case of unicellular, like this happens, and in case of multicellular, what happens? There are some differences there. So but in multicellular organisms there are millions of cells. In case of unicellular, their body is constituted with only one cell, and in case of multicellular organisms their body is made up of millions of cells. So most of these cells are specialized to carry out specific functions. Out of these cells, most of them are specialized to carry out specific functions. Each specialized function is taken up by a different groups of cells. Different types of functions are there. So different functions are taken up by the different types of groups and different groups of cells. So all the cells are not doing the same thing. In humans we can see muscle cells contract and relax to cause movement. So muscle cells contract and relax. We have muscle cells, so these muscle cells contract and relax, and that's why our body moves. Similarly, nerve cells, whatever does they do, they carry messages. So the function of nerve cell is to carry messages. So messages from brain to body, body to brain, like this. They carry out the messages. They carry messages from one part of the body to another part. Similarly, blood flows. In blood, we have different types of cells. That is red blood cells, white blood cells. So these blood cells flow to transport oxygen, food, hormones, and waste material, and so on. So blood carries different substances like oxygen, food, hormones, etc. from one place to another. So all the cells have different functions in our body. So in plants also, vascular tissues. In plants, one type of tissues are there. Some cells is there. So they conduct food and water from one part of the plant to other parts. In plants, tissues are there. They can conduct food and water from one part of the plant to another part. So they are transporting water and food in the plants. So each cell is performing its function. Means one group of cells is there, they are performing one type of function, and another group of cells are there, they are performing another type of function. All the cells are not carrying out same type of functions. So what is tissue now? As the name of the chapter is tissue, so first we will define the term tissue. A tissue is defined as a group of organized cells having common structure and function. Tissue is what? Tissue is defined as a group of organized cells. Group of organized cells having common structure and function. They should have the structure in common and their function should be same. It's a group of cells. If one group of cells are there and their structure is not same and their function is not same, they are not tissue. Their structure and function must be same, and a group of cells is called tissue. So here we can see, for example, muscle tissue, blood tissue, nervous tissue, phlegm tissue, xylem tissue. There are different types of tissues are there. We will be discussing all these types of tissues in this chapter. So tissues means, if we say simply, tissue means a group of cells and having common structure and function. Their function and structure should be same, and group of cells should be there. So this group of cells will be known as tissue. So if we see here, one group of cells, this is a cell, this is a cell, this is a cell. So many cells are there. So all these cells, their structure is same and their function is same. So this group of cell is known as a tissue. So first we will be discussing about the plant tissues, and in the next part we will be discussing about the animal tissues. So in the plant tissues, different types of tissues are there. So in the plant tissues we will be discussing this first one, that is meristematic tissue. So what is meristematic tissue? The growth of plants occurs only in certain specific regions. The growth of the plants occurs only in certain specific regions. The plant will not grow means from all the areas. it will the growth will occur at certain specific regions only. This is because dividing tissue, or also known as meristematic tissue. Because why this in the specific regions this growth occurs? Because of this dividing tissue or meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissues are known as dividing tissue. So in the specific regions these dividing tissues are present, and because of them the plants are growing at certain specific regions only. So meristematic tissues are located only at certain points. Meristematic tissues are not present in all the parts of the plants. They are present on certain points only. So we will see what is meristematic tissue in detail. So depending on the region where they are present, meristematic tissues are classified as. So depending on the regions in the plants, we have seen they are not present in all the parts. They are present on only at certain points. So depending upon their position or where they are present, we can classify the meristematic tissues into three main categories. The first one is apical meristematic tissue. Apical means apex. Apex means the tip of the plant. So apical meristematic tissue, when meristematic tissues occupy apical position, that is apex of stem, whether the stem or root or leaf, at any apex, any tip of the plant, whether tip of the stem or tip of the root or tip of the leaf, if the meristematic tissues are present only on those positions, then the meristematic tissues are referred to as apical meristematic tissue. If the meristematic tissues are present in the apex, if you see this picture here, so if this is the plant, if they are present the tip of the stem, or we can see here in this one tip of the stem, these apical meristematic tissues are present. So the meristematic tissue which are present on the tip or apex or apical position of stem, root or leaf, the meristematic tissues are referred to as apical meristematic tissue, and these tissues increases the length of the stem, root and leaf. So what is the function of this apical meristematic tissue? They will increase the length of the stem. So if they are present on the stem, tip of the root and tip of the leaf, so they will be increasing the length. They will be continuously dividing, and that's why they are known as dividing tissue also. They will increase the length of the stem, they will increase the length of the root, and they will increase the length of the leaf also. So if this is about apical meristematic tissue, and another type is lateral meristematic tissue. So this lateral means on the side, lateral means side. So lateral meristematic tissues are present on either side of the stem and root, and they promote the sideways growth, that is girth of the plant. If you see here in this plant, they are present on the side, this on either side. So lateral meristematic tissues are present on either side of the stem, or in the root also they are present on either side. So the meristematic tissues which are present on either side of the stem or root, and they promote what? They promote the sideways growth, means they will increase the girth of the plant. So these type of tissues are known as lateral meristematic tissues. And another type of meristematic tissues are there, and these are known as intercalary meristematic tissues. Some meristematic tissues are present at the base of the leaf and at the base of the nodes. If you see here on the base of the leaves, if you see this, consider this leaf. So on the base of the leaves, some meristematic tissues are present, and on the nodes, what is node? So these lines are known as nodes. If you see this coconut tree, so some lines will be there. So these lines are known as nodes. So some meristematic tissues are present at the base of the leaf and at the base of the nodes, and they are known as intercalary meristematic tissue. So here we'll see the means the composition or the structure of cell, the cells of the meristematic tissue, how the cells are. We will see here the cells of meristematic tissue are very active. They have dense cytoplasm and thin cellulose walls and prominent nuclei. So the cells of the meristematic tissues are very active. They have to be very active because they are continuously dividing to increase the length and to increase the girth, to promote the growth of the plant. They have to be dividing continuously. That's why the cells of these meristematic tissues are very active. They have dense cytoplasm. Their cytoplasm is very dense, and the cellulose wall, the cell wall was very thin, and they have a very prominent nuclei. The very big nucleus will be there. So, and one other key thing is that they lack vacuoles. In the cells of these meristematic tissues, there is no vacuoles. Why? Because vacuoles act as barriers for cell division. If you can remember this in your class in the previous chapter, we discussed about the structure, the function of vacuole. So vacuole act as barriers for cell division. If vacuoles are present in one cell, the cell will not be able to divide very easily, so that vacuole will act as a barrier for the cell division. So as we have seen, the dividing or meristematic tissue has to be dividing again and again. So if vacuoles are present, they will not be able to divide so fast. That's why vacuoles are not present in those cells. So vacuoles they lack vacuoles because vacuoles act as barriers for cell division, and meristematic tissues are dividing tissues. So vacuoles are not present in such tissues. If vacuoles are present, the cells would not be dividing. So this is the first concept of this tissues that we discussed about the meristematic tissue. In the next parts, we will be discussing about the complex and simple types of tissues of plants, and about animal tissues we will be discussing in the next videos. So up to this much, I hope you're clear. If you have any confusion, any doubt, you can ask me. And thank you for watching the video.